Have you ever stumbled upon a hidden world where the line between reality and magic blurs? Where a simple act of kindness can spark a chain of miracles? This is the story of an unexpected encounter that changed everything. The old cemetery lay in silence, perched on the edge of a forgotten mountain town. Time had claimed it, letting ivy twist around crumbling stone walls and weeds grow tall between the headstones. The air smelled of damp earth, moss, and something ancient that clung to every broken angel and leaning cross. At its center stood a marble statue of an angel, once white but now weathered by decades of storms. One wing was cracked, half gone, and the angel's face was bowed in eternal sorrow. In the fading light of late afternoon, shadows stretched across the graves like fingers. Ethan, a traveler and photographer, had not meant to wander here. He'd been driving through the mountains, chasing the last light of day with his camera, when he noticed the iron gates of the cemetery ajar. Something in its forlorn stillness drew him inside. He had always been pulled to places where stories seemed buried in the stones, waiting for someone to notice. He walked slowly, boots crunching on gravel and fallen leaves, his camera swinging against his chest. He lifted it now and then, capturing the strange beauty of decay, the ivy that swallowed names on tombstones, the way sunbeams pierced through shattered branches. He reached the angel's statue and paused, adjusting his lens. That was when he saw it. At the base of the statue stood a tiny golden puppy, no more than 2 months old. Its fur was pale, like sunlight faded into cream, but it was filthy, tangled with burrs and streaked with dirt. Its ribs pressed against its thin skin, a fragile cage that rose and fell with trembling breaths. Ethan lowered his camera. The puppy didn't run or hide. Instead, with a strange dignity, it rose unsteadily onto its hind legs. Its 2 small paws pressed together tightly, as though in prayer. Its eyes wide, liquid, desperate, were fixed on Ethan. He blinked, startled. What on earth? He half expected the pup to scamper off once he moved, but it didn't. Instead, it tottered forward, pressed its tiny paws against his trouser leg, scratching weakly. Then it turned, stumbling through the overgrown grass. After a few steps, it looked back. Again it rose, paws pressed together, pleading. Ethan felt his chest tighten. The gesture was uncanny, almost human, yet filled with an animal's raw desperation. He hesitated only a second before following. The puppy darted among headstones, pausing often to make sure he kept up, glancing back with imploring eyes. It led him across the cemetery until they reached a crumbling chapel at the far end. The door hung crooked, half-rotted, and the windows were shattered, letting in shards of golden light. Inside, the air was heavy with dust and the scent of damp wood. Ethan's footsteps echoed softly as he entered, following the pup. Then he saw her. On the cold stone floor lay a larger dog-a-mother. Her coat, once golden like her pup's, was tangled and filthy, matted with dried blood. She lay on her side, one hind leg twisted at an unnatural angle, a deep wound oozing faintly. Her breaths were shallow, ragged, each one a battle. Her eyes opened slowly as Ethan approached. They were dim, filled with exhaustion, resignation. She had given up. The puppy whimpered and ran to her side, licking her face, nuzzling desperately. Then, as though realizing Ethan was their last hope, it turned once more, stood on its hind legs, and pressed its paws together. Ethan's throat constricted. He dropped to his knees, removing his jacket. "Oh God," he whispered, voice shaking. Carefully he wrapped the mother dog, cradling her against his chest. She was terrifyingly light, bones sharp beneath fur, her warmth fading fast. The puppy circled his boots, whimpering urgently, urging him on. Ethan carried the mother dog out of the chapel, the golden puppy trotting close behind. As they passed the angel statue, Ethan felt as though its bowed head watched them, silent and sorrowful, but also blessing them. He hurried back through the town until he reached a small veterinary clinic. The bell above the door rang sharply as he burst inside, calling for help. Dr. Margaret Hale, the town's veterinarian, looked up in surprise. She was a woman in her 50s, with silver hair pulled into a bun, and kind but sharp eyes. Her expression hardened into focus the moment she saw the injured dog. "Put her here quick," she said, motioning to the table. Ethan laid the mother dog down, his hands reluctant to let go. Margaret examined the wound, cleaning it swiftly. "She's lost a lot of blood," she murmured, "but she's still fighting. Let's see if we can give her a chance." The next hour was a blur of frantic effort. Margaret worked with practiced hands, cleaning, stitching, bandaging, starting fluids. Ethan stood close, the puppy pressed against his boots, whimpering softly, but never leaving. Time dragged. Each minute felt like an eternity. Ethan found himself whispering silent prayers he hadn't spoken since childhood. At last Margaret exhaled, her shoulders easing. "She's stable, weak but stable. If infection doesn't set in, she has a chance." The mother dog stirred, lifting her head weakly. Her eyes softened as they found her pup. The puppy leaped up, tail wagging furiously, licking her face with frantic relief. Ethan pressed a hand against his eyes, blinking away tears. Weeks passed. Cemetery remained silent, forgotten, but in Ethan's home, warmth had replaced ruin. He had decided almost immediately he couldn't leave them. Not after that night. The mother dog lay now on a soft bed near the fireplace, her leg healing beneath fresh bandages. Her body, once frail, slowly regained strength. Her pup curled beside her, though often it would climb into Ethan's lap. Sometimes it would rise on its hind legs, press its tiny paws together, and look at him with eyes full of something that seemed far greater than instinct. It's not desperation now. Gratitude. Neighbors marveled when they heard the story. Some came to visit to see the little golden puppy that had prayed before an angel statue to save its mother. They shook their heads in wonder. Ethan only smiled, stroking the pup's ears. "Not just a dog," he whispered one night, as the fire crackled and the two animals slept peacefully beside him. "Family. Even the smallest life can carry a prayer strong enough to save another." And in the quiet warmth of his home he knew he had been the one saved too.